Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. It's your girl, the Brooke Ashley, and today we are here to discuss The Real Housewives of Salt Lake City, Season 2, Episode 9, and bravo, thank you very much for bringing us a 90-minute episode full of mess. So yes, it was a slow start in the first half, but now it's game time in the second half. So, with all that being said, let's just jump right on into this recap because we don't have a minute to spare. We start off this episode with Jen and her son playing basketball. We know that things have been kind of rocky between her and both of her sons, especially with her youngest son, Omar. So to see them playing basketball, having some fun, he seems like he's more receptive to his mom now. I said that's good. But I can only imagine what their relationship is like now, knowing that his mom is facing some serious jail time. Then we see another scene with Whitney and her husband, Justin. They want to move the stripper pole that's in their entertainment room, so I think somewhere else in the house. I was crying when Justin got on that pole too. I said, let me find out Justin knows what to do. I was so shocked when he got on there, like, he knows how to do it. I said, Justin can teach me something. Now we move on to Mary, and Mary's at home in her closet. She's calling all the ladies up individually to invite them to cook some Italian food with her. She wants them all to come dressed in Italian streetwear. Now, I was screaming how Mary was insulting all their fashions in her confessional. I said, Mary, how do you think you look? You think that they look crazy, but you look crazier than all of them combined. I mean, Mary looks like she goes in her closet each day and says, let me put on every single label from head to toe. Like, I mean, Mary has some nice pieces, but they don't translate because she just looks so wacky wearing what she has on. Mary is the definition of money does not buy good taste or style. But I digress. Now, like I told you guys in last week's recap, Italian food is my absolute favorite. So I would have been really happy for this invitation. Like, I am always down for some Italian cuisine. And I had so much Italian when I was in Chicago this weekend too. I went back for a friend's bridal shower. I used to go to school in Chicago, so I lived in Chicago for quite some time, all right? But when I tell you I ate and ate and ate, like I had the seafood platter, I had some delicious lobster, some scallops, some pasta, and you know I had that deep dish pizza. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. I missed the deep dish. I missed my Chicago deep dish. So when she was talking about this Italian cooking class, my mouth was watering up again because I had just gotten off the plane and was watching the show. But let me move on, y'all, because you did not come to hear me ramble on and on about food or my Chicago vacation. So let's just get on with it. But Mary is calling up all the ladies and she's getting a bit frustrated because she can't seem to reach Whitney. She calls Whitney like 4 times and each time it goes to voicemail. So she's just going on and on about that. And one thing about Mary, it seems like she fixates on one thing and she just can't let it go. I understand you might be annoyed, but it's like, you know you could text Whitney like, hey girl, I tried calling you, I'm having this event, I want you to come. The time, the date, the place, it's going to be here, here, and here. That's all you have to say. And if you give it some time, the person that you're trying to reach will eventually call you back. I know that if I can get to my phone immediately, I'll call the person back. Again, I think that Mary could benefit from a little bit of HELP, ASAP, because there's just no reason for her to be so upset at Whitney not picking up the phone. That's Mary for you. Mary also lets us know in her confessional that she invited everybody except for Jennie because she doesn't like Jennie. She doesn't like her energy. She's not feeling her. Mary, I don't agree with you often, but I feel you on that one. I don't like Jennie either. I think that Jennie is a lame. She's trying way too hard to secure her spot on this show. She's just not giving what the girl said she was supposed to have gave. Like, I don't want to see Jennie back on my screen come season 3. This needs to be a one and done for her. And you guys notice how Jennie was barely in this episode because she's boring. We move on to a short scene with Meredith. She's at home getting her nails done, and Jennie comes over. So Meredith is like, hey girl, just want to let you know that I've invited everybody on this trip to Vail. I would love for you to come. So Jennie's super excited, and then of course, Mary gets brought up. Jennie says in her confessional how she was going through a lot that day when they went snow tubing. Now, like I said in last week's recap, if you were in such a bad mood and it was such a hard day for you, you should have stayed home. I hate people who, they want to go out, bring the mood down, and then say, well, I'm going through a lot. We've all gone through stuff. When I know that I'm in a really bad mood, I will cancel the plans, or I will just opt out and say, you know what, you guys go out without me, have fun. But I'm not going to sit there and ruin everybody else's time because I'm in a bad mood. Grow up. You are almost 50 years old acting like a child. Again, I think that Jennie is annoying. She's very unnecessary. She's just not needed on this cast. So now Meredith says, look, Mary is not a trusting person, so she automatically takes something to the worst case scenario. Then Meredith says, on this Vail trip, we're all going to be together. I have been on the outs with Shah, but she's coming on the trip, and if I can do it, then you can manage being in the same house with Mary. It's just a bit different because Meredith and Jen actually squashed their feud, and Jen is low-key scared of Meredith. So Meredith has the power in their friendship, whatever you want to call it, but Meredith wouldn't be the one to be walking around on eggshells. It will be Jen walking around eggshells around Meredith. So of course it's going to be easy for you to manage being around Jen because you're the one with the upper hand. In Jennie's case, Mary's a wild card, and you don't know what's going to fly out of Mary's mouth, especially if she's not getting along with you. So I think that Jennie should be a bit fearful and watch her step and keep it cute while she's on this vacation in Vail. Now we move on to one of the funniest scenes, in my opinion, of the night. More and more, I really do like Heather. I think that she is a breath of fresh air. She seems to have a lot of fun. She doesn't take herself too seriously. I just like her attitude. I like her positivity. And this scene really had me screaming. I said, Miss Heather Gay is determined to blow the lid off of the Mormon church one episode at a time. I said, she is really trying to get everybody to leave the church. So anyhow, she's meeting up with her niece, who's her older sister's daughter. Her niece just turned 25, so her niece is there with her husband, and then Heather's there with her oldest daughter, Ashley. They're going to have a really nice 7-course meal in honor of Caroline's birthday. So they bring the wine out. Heather's like, oh my gosh, I never ordered wine in front of my daughter. So they're laughing about that. So they're all toasting to burning in hell for eternity. And Heather lets us know that her niece, Caroline, has also decided that she no longer wants to be Mormon anymore. And so Heather is explaining the different levels of heaven in the Mormon religion. So I guess it was like the celestial level, that's the top level with the prophets. Then there's another level below that. So she's like, that level is like the Lisa Barlow's, where it's like you're almost perfect, but you still, drink and do other stuff. Then there's a level for like the serial killers, and it was just a mess. Then she says there's a level below where the serial killers go, and that's the outer darkness. Like, that's the worst place that you could possibly be. So she's like, that's where I'm going to be. Heather explains that she would be in the worst realm because she grew up Mormon, she got married in the temple, she knows all the doctrine, but then she decided to say, shout out to everybody, I have fun.
Oh! Shout out to everybody, I have fun.
I gotta be good.
so that makes her worse than a serial killer. I said, well, all right. So Caroline explains how during the pandemic, her and her husband were questioning the Mormon faith, and they were like, things aren't adding up. So she says that she decided to just wash her hands of it, and she feels so good. She feels so free. She felt like before she was always trying to please everybody else and not make herself happy. So Heather's asking, like, okay, so when did you have your first drink? What did you guys have? They say that they picked up some vodka, had some shots, they had some wine like 2 months ago, and how they felt kind of nervous. Heather is chomping at the bit, like she is foaming at the mouth because the excitement of her niece abandoning the faith and being free, like she is just over the moon. So now Heather says in her confessional that back when she was a Mormon, she felt like she was superior to people. She remembers how she pitched a fit at her sister's wedding because her sister wanted to have them wearing like spaghetti straps, and she thought that that was too like risque. So she was like, I'm not going to wear that. And she was really mad at her sister. Like she didn't even get her sister a gift, she said. Oh no, that was for her other sister who got married, but she didn't get married in the Mormon temple. She said that she didn't get her a nice gift. So Heather was one of those like very self-righteous. She thought that she was pretty much like right next to God, okay? I could definitely see Heather with that teacher's pet, trying to be perfect, a brown noser, looking down her nose on other Mormons who drank or dabbled in some sex or whatever. I could definitely see her looking her nose down on everybody and just being unbearable. I'm happy that her niece feels good because that must really suck to feel like you're stifled, to feel like you can never be yourself, like somebody's going to judge you or you're doing something wrong. That's just no way to live. So I'm glad that they all feel free and they're all toasting and having a good time. Now we move on to a short scene with Jen Shah and her first assistant, Stuart. They're going, I think she said snowshoeing or whatever it was. I don't know what it was, but they were doing something in the snow, child. So they get to talking about their families. Jen says that she envies what Stuart has with his kids. She goes on to say how she sacrificed her family time to set up businesses and create jobs for other families and to make money. Girl, what businesses were you setting up? Jen goes on to say that she's going to be scaling back more and she's making more of an effort to be there for her youngest son, Omar. I mean, I hope that things can be worked out with her and her sons, but I was thinking about all the craziness that they've seen over the years. A father who is hardly ever home. You have a mom with volatile temper tantrums and mood swings. She's always screaming, yelling, cursing at somebody, always having a fit about something, always unhappy. And on top of that, she's also never home because she's out doing God knows what to make $1. So Lord knows the craziness that both of her sons have seen, especially the youngest. Stuart says that he'll always be there for Jen, and Jen says that Stuart is more than just her assistant. Like, he's her friend. He's loyal. He's good to her. He's been with her through the ups and the downs, and he's seen some things. And we know that he's done some things too, hence why he's facing a pretty hefty sentence in jail just like you, because you got him roped in all this nonsense. I'm all for being loyal, but not when it comes to doing something illegal. Like, I'm not going to be loyal to my own detriment, okay? If I see you moving stupid, I'm out. And Stuart should have been out when he saw what she was doing. But, child, I guess we'll all see it play out the rest of this season. So now we finally get to the big day. It is Mary's cooking class, and she's super excited. She gets to the Park City Culinary Institute first, and she's looking around. Everything looks amazing. The table is set perfectly. Mary did that. I will give it to her. She does know how to plan a very nice luncheon, okay? And some of these other ladies on other franchises, cough, cough, Potomac, y'all need to take notes because half the time you're throwing these events with not a morsel of food. and you guys know how I feel when it comes to the food situation, all right? So don't get me started on that. Jen Shah arrives next, and Jen Shah, it was super cute because she had on the Italian flag draped over her, and then she was donning all the Italian flag colors. It was also really cool because Stewart dropped her off in a motorcycle. I said, okay, with this Italian vibe, I said, all right, Jen definitely understood the assignment. Mary approves Jen's outfit because remember that the attire was Italian streetwear. Now, Mary, I didn't get much Italian streetwear vibes from you. You were wrapped up in Louis Vuitton, Chanel, and baby, those are French designers. Where was the Christian Dior, honey? Like, where was the Versace, honey? We're talking about Italy. And here you are giving Parisian. Mary is a hot mess. Now Meredith arrives, and I liked Meredith's outfit a lot. It was chic. It was just really just crisp. I was feeling it. Let me say this. I know I said that Meredith was kind of dry last season. Meredith has slowly become my fave. Like, low-key, Meredith is that girl of this franchise. Let me know what you guys think down below, but I was saying it on Twitter. I like her a lot. She's very cool. She's just very calm. Like, she's just there for a good vibe. Like, she's not trying to fight with anybody, but if you bring some BS to her door, she'll finish it, but she's not going to start it. I like Meredith a lot. I think that she is the girl of Salt Lake City. I think it's her and Heather. And I low-key love Meredith's voice, and I almost have her voice down pat. So if you see me starting to imitate her along with Lisa Barlow, don't be surprised. Meredith says that she hasn't seen Mary since she had that conversation with Cameron. We all remember Cameron made an appearance in last week's episode where he was spilling the tea about Mary's church and all the nonsense that went down. Side note, I heard the news about Cameron passing away earlier this summer. I said, oh my goodness, that's terrible. My thoughts and condolences and prayers to Cameron's family. That is just so sad. And prayers up to the kids because Lisa had said in last week's episode that he had taken in 2 kids under the age of 2. So I feel really bad for the babies. Meredith wants to know what they're cooking today. And they're going to be having some bolognese sauce or some pasta with some tiramisu for dessert. I said, stop playing with me. Oh my gosh, my faves. And tiramisu is my favorite dessert. Oh my gosh. Oh my goodness. Like, my mouth was just watering. And I told you I just came back from Chicago, so I was eating all that good food there. So I was like, all right, I'm hungry again. Mary tells Jen and Meredith that she's upset with Whitney and how she's going to be punishing Whitney today because she told her to wear mafia streetwear instead of Italian streetwear. So Meredith is like, wait, what? Jen's super confused, like, wait, why are you trying to punish Whitney? Like, what's that all about? Mary says that she called Whitney 4 times to invite her to the cooking class, and Whitney not only did not pick up the phone, but she never called Mary back. So Mary is still peeved about that. So now we see a parallel scene with Heather and Whitney on their way to the cooking class. Heather jokes around about how Mary just loves a themed luncheon. And we remember last season, Mary threw that Met Gala luncheon, so Mary is very over the top with her themes. So now they start talking about the invitations, and Whitney says, my invitation told me to show up in mafia wear. So Heather's like, oh, well, that's not the invitation that I got. Like, she told us Italian streetwear. So now Whitney puts 2 and 2 together and says, okay, I see what's going on now. Mary's mad at me, and this is her way of making me look like a fool by having me show up in some stupid costume while you guys look great. Again, Mary is too damn old. Mary is, what, 48, 49, and operating like a child. Somebody not returning your phone call in a timely fashion should not warrant all this anger. Okay, you're annoyed about it. Like, okay, I get it. But you also could have texted Whitney like, hey girl, I tried calling you. Give me a call back. I want to invite you to an event. How hard is that to do? Mary needs to grow up and learn how to communicate better. So now Whitney and Heather arrive to the cooking class. Mary makes a really snide remark to Whitney, like, I see you didn't show up in the mafia streetwear that I told you to wear. So Whitney's like, no girl, like, I wasn't doing that. Mary's kind of peeved. Lisa Barlow finally arrives, and now they can finally begin the cooking lesson. Before they start though, Mary has a gift for all of them. She hands them these custom-made aprons with everybody's name on them, and they're all in these Louis Vuitton shopping bags. They're like, wait, she got us aprons from Louis? And they're like, oh my gosh, like, how awesome. So Mary admits in her confessional that those aprons are not from Louis. She has them in the shopping bags, but those are not Louis Vuitton aprons. She got them from somewhere else. She says, why would I spend all that money on them? Like, no. Now, Mary, why couldn't you just gift them in a regular bag? Why did it have to be Louis Vuitton shopping bags and they weren't from Louis? Mary seems like the type to package up a stick of bubble gum, put it in a David Yurman or Cartier box, and pretend like she got you a really nice gift. And when you open it up, it's like a ring from a gumball shop. Like, only Mary would do that. She would really have you fooled. Mary gives me, she's very lavish, very extravagant with herself, but when it comes to treating other people, she's a cheapskate. So now they all finished the cooking lesson, and the pasta turned out really good. Like, it looked amazing. I know it was delicious. And they began eating and just going around the table just talking. So they're thanking Mary for putting this activity together, and Mary's still in a really weird mood, okay? She says, I told everybody to come with their name in Italian, because remember that Heather's name translated to Erica in Italian. So now she's talking to Whitney, and Whitney says, well, Mary, when I checked, Whitney does not translate in Italian, it's just Whitney. Of course, Mary brings up how Whitney did not call her back and how she called Whitney 4 times. So Whitney says, Mary, for goodness sake, I was driving carpool, okay? Like, it was my day to pick my kids up and their friends up from school, and I couldn't be on the phone while driving. Mary's not buying the excuse. She's like, you were doing carpool all day? Like, you were driving all 24 hours of the day? Because, I called you 4 times. You're doing carpool for 45 minutes. You couldn't just call me back when you were at home? Like, I'm not buying it. So now Jen decides that she wants to stir the pot and bring up the mess between her and Lisa. She goes on to ask Lisa about how the event went the other night that she wasn't invited to. Lisa's already irritated. She's like, yeah, it was good. So now Whitney decides that she wants to stir the pot, and she says, oh yeah, Lisa, I'm so sorry I couldn't make your event the other night, like something came up. So Lisa's looking at Whitney like, girl, you did not have to do this right now, knowing good and damn well that I only invited you and Meredith, like making me look bad. So Lisa is getting kind of testy because she can already feel that this conversation is about to go all the way left. So now Mary jumps in and says, oh, there was an event? Like, I wasn't invited. So then Jen says, it's okay, Mary, I wasn't invited either. So now Lisa's upset and she's like, guys, it was a very small guest list, okay? Jack and Henry are the ones who coordinated the guest list, and they invited who they wanted to, all right? Like, everybody can't be invited to everything, okay? Like, there will be other events in the future, so let's not. This event was about my kids. Jen says, I understand that, but at the same token, when I met up with you for their photo shoot a few days ago, you never even bothered to mention this event to me. Like, I just feel a sort of way about that. Again, Lisa's like, Jen, this event was about my kids. Now Jen decides that she wants to choose violence. So she's like, but remember when we were discussing what you told me about Whitney gifting my former assistant, like, her products? So Whitney says, excuse me, like, what was that? What was said? So Jen tells Whitney what Lisa told her. And Whitney's like, hold up, wait a minute. Don't put me in nothing. That's not what happened. Whitney says, Lisa, He reached out to me about purchasing some products. That's it. That's all. I would never gift somebody who had done Jen wrong. So don't put me in it. She goes on to say, if he wants to buy my products, I'm not going to stop him, but I won't be giving him any free products. So what you saw was him purchasing my stuff and he was just thanking me for it, but that's all it was. So don't be sitting up here trying to add some extra sauce in it. So now Whitney's really fired up, and you know that she has a thing for Lisa, all right? Like, she has a hard-on for getting on Lisa's case. She's like, and Lisa, why would you even put that bug in Jen's ear to make me look bad? So Lisa says, no, that's not what I was doing. I'm innocent. Nobody was putting a bug in anybody's ear, okay? Lisa thinks that she's smarter than she is, and this season is really showing it. It's like, girl, every single devious thing that you keep trying to do behind the scenes, it keeps backfiring. Why won't you stop? So now Whitney calls out Lisa and she's like, look, I think that you're obsessed with being Jen's #1 friend. I agree. I think that Lisa, like I said in earlier recaps, she really wants to align herself with who she feels is the star of the show. And she feels like, hey, let me hitch my wagon to Jen because Jen brings the spice. Well, not really, but she does always keep up drama and mess. So I guess you could say she does. So I just feel like Lisa is very disingenuous in why she wants to be good friends with Jen. So now Meredith jumps in to defend Lisa and she's like, why does any of this matter? Jen says, I just find it kind of strange that you were telling me all this stuff about Whitney a few days ago, but then you decide to invite her instead of me. So now Lisa's getting really upset and she's like, look, I'm not going to say it again. This event was about my kids. Jack and Henry curated the guest list, okay? We only invited 30 people. This event was about my kids. I am done. I am done. This was about my kids. That's it. That's all. Everybody stop it. I'm not going to talk about this anymore, okay? I am done. So Jen's like, look, I understand all that, but I'm going to need you to apologize to me because you were sitting up here filling my head with all this stuff about Whitney. Then you go and invite her and not me. So I feel a type of way about it. So Lisa's like, I'm sorry, okay? Like, I'm sorry. I said, again, Lisa, you were dead wrong. Just own up to it. Like, you were caught red-handed. Like, I don't understand. We can all see you, sis. Just say, I was wrong. Let me own up to it. I wanted to invite Whitney and not you. Like, just own it. Like, all this backpedaling and making excuses and putting it on your kids. Girl, shut up. You're the adult with the wallet, okay? So you can invite whoever you wanted to invite. Your kids would not have minded or cared if you had invited a few other people. So please miss me with it. And you look crazy talking about somebody like a dog to me. And then I find out that you had a party and you invited said person who you really can't stand and then don't invite me and I'm supposed to be your good friend. I'd be like, wait, what? I'd have an issue with that too. Lisa, I hope that you're ready for this reunion because they're about to be holding your feet to the fire this time around. Like, don't get it twisted. Shah has a lot of mess going on with her. That's probably going to overshadow everybody else's drama, but they're still going to get on you because you played a big part in a lot of the nonsense so far. Just saying. So they get off of Lisa, and now Lisa thanks Meredith for inviting Jennie to Vail with them. Mary is not pleased about Jennie coming on the trip. She says that she doesn't care for Jennie because Jennie gossips a lot, and she feels like Jennie is another Lisa Barlow, and she doesn't need 2 Lisa Barlows in her life. So Jen makes a comment to Mary saying, it's okay, Mary, like, I got your back. So now Whitney interrupts to, like, say something to Mary, and Jen was still trying to say something to Mary as well. So Mary's like, look, I don't need you to explain anything to me. Like, I want to hear what Jen has to say, okay? So, like, be quiet. So Whitney is really upset by that. She's like, Mary, please don't talk to me like that. Please do not talk to me like I'm a child. I am a grown woman. So Mary says, I'm talking to you with understanding, okay? That's how I talk to my son, who's 18, with understanding. So Whitney again is like, okay, that's cool and all, but I'm a grown woman. Like, again, please talk to me with some respect. So Whitney says, Mary, I don't know why you're getting so mad at me, because all I was trying to do was just explain to you what Jen was trying to say. So again, Mary's like, I don't need you to explain anything to me. I want to hear what Jen was trying to say out of her mouth. I don't need you to say anything. Also, Whitney was being a bit annoying, like, Whitney, just shut up. Like, Whitney is sort of getting on my nerves this season. I mean, I liked Whitney last season, but I don't know what it is. I'm just like, Whitney, just take it down a few notches. I feel like Whitney is really trying to have a moment. I think that she's worried that her storyline isn't strong enough. And because of that, she's trying to create all these moments and trying to have all these outbursts so that she can have a spot for season 3. I was like, Whitney, enough already. Like, please. And then her and Mary just kept going back and forth, back and forth. I said, oh my gosh, if y'all both don't shut up. So now Mary gets irate and she's like, grow up, Whitney. You're a little girl, okay? Little girl. And that should be a compliment. So Whitney's like, on what planet is being called little girl a compliment? So now Mary just goes off the rails. She's like, take your voice down, okay? Wrong girl. Like, stop it. So she's pointing her finger. Her eyes are popping out of her head. It's just a mess. So Whitney is like crying at this point. Like, she cannot believe what Mary is saying to her. Mary's raising her voice at her. Like, she is just too through. She leaves the table, and then Meredith gets up to go check on her and see how she's doing. So Meredith is trying to calm her down and comfort her. And she's like, I'm so sorry. Like, how are you feeling? Like, what happened? Why is she so upset with you? Whitney says, I was in carpool, Meredith. Like, I could not call her back. But she actually did call Mary back 2 hours later, but Mary didn't pick up the phone, and Mary ended up smearing her via text message. So Whitney's reading the text, and it's all about how Mary's better than Whitney, how Mary has never had like any surgery, and she still looks better than Whitney. I said, now, Mary, you a damn lie. Don't sit up here and say that you did not have any surgery. You got quite a few tweaks done. Your nose, don't do it, girl. Don't do it. You chop that down in half, okay? I mean, it looks cute, but don't do it. You bleached your skin, okay? Got some other stuff done, allegedly, too, but it is clear as day that you got quite a lot of work done on you. So let's not, when it comes to trying to read somebody about cosmetic surgery. So Whitney's crying, and she's like, Meredith, you don't understand. Like, I really liked Mary. I was a good friend to Mary. I was single-handedly her PR person. When people would say that she was crazy, or, they would talk bad about her and her church, I was always sticking up for her. She goes on to say how she went to Mary's church, she gave money to Mary's church, and this is a big slap in the face for Mary to treat her this way. So now Meredith brings up the conversation that she had with Cameron a few days ago, and she says, I was really uneasy hearing that. And then Whitney says, yeah, I mean, that's probably true, because I remember that people told me, like, don't ever make Mary mad. So Meredith says, do you really believe that her cousins and everybody is afraid of her? And Whitney says, yes, because they all believe that she holds the power of God. Now remember that multiple members of Mary's church have come forward, and they've done interviews and articles. Quite a few reached out to me last season and let me know that, yes, they did call Mary's grandmother God, or they called her mama. So they definitely did believe that Mary's grandmother was God. And they say now that Mary has them calling her God as well. Then Whitney says that when the congregation speaks in tongues, they're speaking to Mary. I said, child. So Whitney is all calmed down. Her and Meredith go back to the table. Now Mary is upset with Meredith because Meredith went to comfort Whitney and didn't comfort her. I said, Mary, you started the whole entire argument between you and Whitney. Like, Mary's another one who acts like a baby. I'm like, Mary, if you don't grow up. Salt Lake City definitely is the strangest cast, hands down. It's a lot of really poorly adjusted adults with very bad social skills. So Meredith says, I was trying to comfort you, but you didn't give me a chance to. Like, you brushed me away. So now Whitney interjects and she's like, Mary, I hope that we're still friends after all this. Like, you know, I hope that you still care about me. So Mary says, rather dismissively, I don't think that we're friends like that. Whitney is visibly hurt and she's like, okay, Mary, if that's how you want to play, then so be it. The gloves are off. Mary, I thought that was very mean of you to do that. Like, it just wasn't that deep for you to be so angry because she did not return your phone call. Again, I think that Mary really has some poor social skills. Her emotional maturity is just like, it's non-existent. I don't think that Mary knows how to be a normal, functioning, well-adjusted adult. I don't think that she has any friends. I think that she has a very lonely life. Hence why we see her always in her closet talking to her things. It's just very sad. I just felt like that was very evil of her to dismiss Whitney like that and be so cruel. Mary was acting like Whitney stole from her or something. Like, Mary, you can forgive Jen Shah after Jen called you a grandfather effer. She called you everything but a child of God, and you guys are cool again. But you can't forgive Whitney because she didn't call you back? Like, girl, what? A mess. So now we finally get to the big moment. It is the day of the infamous Vail, Colorado trip. Meredith and Mary are not going to be going on the bus with the rest of the ladies. They're going to be meeting them separately. So it's going to be Jen, Lisa, Jennie, Heather, and Whitney on the bus going there. The bus is at Heather's beauty lab and everybody arrives one by one. Heather is super excited. She's pumped. She can't wait. Jen arrives in her cultural appropriation box braids. I said, girl, come again. Whitney's on the bus. Jennie arrives. Lisa Barlow arrives. They're just waiting for Heather to come back out of the beauty lab so that they can just go on. So, child, Jen's on the bus and her phone starts ringing. It's her husband, Coach Shah. Now, what could Coach Shah want knowing that his wife is about to be going on a cute little girls' trip to Vail for the next few days? So she picks up the phone and immediately her vibe is off. She looks worried. Something just doesn't seem quite right. So Jen is still looking worried on the phone and she's like, so wait, you want me to go back to the house? Like, what's going on? Like, oh, okay. She gets off the phone and she turns to Whitney and it's like, Whitney, can you take this mic off of me? So Whitney's like, yeah, sure. Now Whitney's confused, like, girl, what? Like, we're filming this show. Like, we need to be mic'd up. Now, mind you, while this is going on the bus, Heather is still inside a beauty lab taking care of a few things, okay? So she's missing all of this mess with Jen getting this phone call, so yeah. So now Jen gets off the bus. She's like super frazzled. Her energy is just, it's all over the place. Heather comes out of beauty lab. She's like, girl, what are you doing? Like, what's going on, babe? Jen's like, Sharif has internal bleeding right now, so he's at the hospital, so I have to go. Heather's like, wait, what? Like, are you serious right now? Like, we don't have to go on this trip. We can turn this bus around and go and help you out. So Jen's like, no, it's fine. So now Jen gets back on the bus with Heather and she tells all the other ladies that Sharif is in the hospital. He has internal bleeding. Now, when Jen said this, I knew she was lying. Like, despite what we've heard before the season even started, you could see from her energy, the way that she was talking, that something was amiss. Like, it wasn't coming out like super forthright that it was about Sharif. Like, you would have known immediately that this was something else. It wasn't about Sharif being in any hospital. Jen just had very nervous and very guilty energy. Lisa Barlow's like, Jen, like, we don't have to go on this trip. She's like, no, go. They're hugging her. And the next thing that we know, Jen is off the bus and she is in her aunt's pickup truck down the road on the way to the hospital. Who is this random aunt in this pickup truck that is always there to pick Jen up from someplace? Do you guys notice that? Lisa wants to wait for Jen. Heather doesn't know now if they should even go on the trip. The producer comes on the bus and is like, are you guys seriously thinking about not going? And you could tell the producer was kind of pissed, like, look, we need some footage for this season, so don't play with us. Like, y'all better get y'all's behinds to Vail immediately because we still need to film a TV show. Jennie says that she thinks that they should all go on the trip. She says that if that were her, she would want all the ladies to go without her and have a good time. So they're still in the middle of the beauty lab parking lot, deliberating if they should go to Vail or not. While they're talking, the feds pull up. The SWAT team shows up, and they're all like, wait, what's going on? Heather jumps off the bus, and she's like, hi, like, what's going on? They're like, have you seen Jen Shah? Is Jen Shah on that bus? She's like, no, she just left because her husband had some internal bleeding. So Heather's still running her mouth. I said, Heather, girl, when the police are there, shut up. Stay on that bus and keep quiet. Don't say anything until they come to you with questions. I would have stayed my behind on that bus like... Heather's still confused because she's like, wait, like, what's going on? She's like, who are you guys again? They're like, Homeland Security. She's like, wait, what? So now they're asking her what vehicle did she drive off in. Heather's telling her that, her aunt picks her up in some pickup truck. So Whitney, Jennie, and Lisa are still on the bus, and they're watching this all play out. Whitney's like, is this a prank? Like, are we being punked? I just can't believe that this is real. So Lisa is really weirded out by this. Whitney says, before she left, she asked me to turn her mic off. So Lisa says, this is not about Sharif. This is about something else. So now Heather gets back on the bus. Whitney's like, are they looking for Jen? Heather's like, yup. They're all shocked by this chain of events. And Lisa goes on to say that she's going to call Stuart to see what's going on. I said, baby, Stuart's roped into this nonsense too, all right? The feds got him first. So if you call him, his phone's going to be going to voicemail, just like his boss. Heather goes on to ask, what if Jen is on the run? And that's where the episode ends. Let me say, the fact that Jen could just lie as easily as she did about Sharif being in the hospital, that's very alarming. I mean, granted, I don't know what I would be doing if I were ever in some crazy situation like that, but I can assure you I'd probably keep quiet. I wouldn't come up with a lie saying that my husband was dealing with internal bleeding. I just got the impression that Jen knew beforehand that something was about to go down. I felt like her energy was kind of low when she got on the bus. She didn't seem like her normal self. I feel like she was just hoping and praying that they wouldn't come and get her right then and there. But she knew that it was coming. I also wouldn't be surprised if Lisa knew all along that there was some shady business going on. I feel like Lisa was a bit too calm and collected. When Lisa said, this isn't about Sharif, I said, okay, Lisa knows. Lisa knows more than she's letting on. I'm curious to see now how the friendship between Lisa and Jen plays out, because we know how Lisa is. Once you no longer are a benefit to her, she's out. Maybe Jen felt like the feds wouldn't come after her if she was filming. I just get the impression that Jen thought that she was going to outsmart the law. I don't know. This situation is so crazy. The rest of this season is about to be chaotic. I cannot wait. seeing what Jen is going to be saying for herself for the remainder of this season is going to be interesting. I wonder if it's going to be more of like an Erica Jane situation. If you've noticed, Jen has been deathly quiet on social media. Like, she posts a little bit on Instagram, but she does not post anything on Twitter. Like, she is quiet. The complete opposite of Erica for the most part. Forget about this season. Jen just has a very long road ahead of her. It's evident that Jen has been operating on smoke and mirrors, and now the cat is finally out the bag. I don't understand what this obsession is about flexing, pretending like you have all this money when you don't. Like, it's just silliness. I love things. I think that designer pieces are great, but I don't love anything that I want to steal for it. Okay? Like, it's really not that deep. I think that Jen really accelerated the process of them coming after her when she got on this show. We are really about to sit here and watch the demise of yet another housewife who tried to fake her way to the top and now is crumbling down. But y'all, this was a great episode. I thoroughly enjoyed myself. That was a very entertaining 90 minutes. But I think that quite a few of these ladies know more than they're trying to let on. I think that Lisa and Meredith for sure know a lot more. But y'all, that was the episode. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed my recap. And as always, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And I'll see you later. Bye.